Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, and I talk about on my channel how to create low content books and sell them on Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing. A lot of times if you want to have a business or do something like that, you need inventory and you need to, create books or create products or whatever and have them stored in your basement. Well, not with Kindle Direct Publishing. This is what's called a print-on-demand business. It is free to start, and I basically show you how to do that and give you tips. Right now we're going to be talking about KDP descriptions, the art of selling. I'm really big on teaching you guys how to sell, how to create descriptions, titles, keywords, all that sort of thing to get your book noticed and get it selling out to the public. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really like to hear from you guys and hear any questions you have, comments, anything on my YouTube channel. Please let me know in the comments. But let's get right in to talking about Kindle Direct Publishing KDP descriptions, the art of selling. All right, so the first slide is going to be about copywriting. Okay, what is copywriting? Why do I need to learn copywriting? I don't understand. Copywriting is the art of persuading your audience to do something. Now, in the case of your books, you want to persuade them to hit, add to cart and purchase, right? You want to persuade them to buy it. So copywriting is just kind of like a fancy word, or maybe it's a shortened word for pretty much writing that persuades people to purchase your book. And there's some elements to that. I went and looked up copywriting. I've actually studied copywriting before, but I went and kind of did a lot of more research to make sure I had kind of all my thoughts in line with what's currently trending in the copywriting world. And it wasn't all that shocking to me. The first thing that they said that you needed to do for copywriting is determine your target audience. Who, what, when, where, why. Who are they? What do they like? Why do they like it? When is kind of, when do they need it? Is it something for a gift? So, is it going to be more often bought at Christmas? So there's kind of that aspect, when are they going to be buying these things? Is it year round? Where do they like to do these things, or where do they hang out? Do they hang out on Amazon, right? If they don't hang out on Amazon, which is pretty much across the board, every kind of niche person someone from that group hangs out on Amazon. But you want to find places that they hang out to converse so that you can market to them. So that's important on the marketing side. Pinterest, I know in my channel you can look, I have a Pinterest and Instagram and stuff, and you can decide if your market hangs out on those platforms, and that's a good place to market to them. Do they hang out on Facebook? Where do they hang out? And why? Why is one of the biggest things. You need to understand why your audience would want to purchase this item from you. I'm really big on target audience because I think if you're not targeting someone, you're targeting no one. And this is especially true. It's one of the first things they tell you about copywriting. You have to know who you're aiming at so that you can persuade them. All right, and you'll see as I go along why this is important. Define your call to action, your CTA. You'll hear that a lot, CTA, call to action. That means what do you want them to do? So in this case, you want them to put the item into their cart and purchase it. So buy this book now, grab your book now, put it in your cart and check out, whatever, that's what you want them to do. And you want to be very clear about what your call to action is, because people kind of follow directions. We'll talk about that as we go through the examples. But if they're interested and you've persuaded them that this is something they want to buy, and you tell them to put it in their cart, they're kind of likely to do it. It's not like obviously 100%, but if you don't tell them that, you're missing the opportunity to give them the solution to their problem. And we're going to talk about that. Entice people. Use the language of the niche or interest. You have to understand the lingo, yet again, understand your target audience, and understand the words they use, the problems they have, their pain points, all that sort of thing. You need to understand that so that you can evoke emotion out of them so that they are in the place where they want to purchase your item. Okay, credibility. This is really big on selling products. In Amazon, there are a few things. Reviews obviously do help with your credibility. Now, if you don't have reviews, don't freak out. Your description can also add. A lot of people buy things without reviews. I buy things without reviews. A lot of other people do as well. Your description can offer some credibility by highlighting the features or items or things that are in your book that offer relief to their pain points. So that can actually be a source of credibility. All right, A+ content marketing can also do this because it's a visual way of showing, pages in your book or other books that you have that are selling, that sort of thing. If you have a brand that they feel that they can trust, then just going that extra mile to put in pictures and things like that, it really lends that air of credibility to you and your brand. All right, handle objections. That is kind of what is it? You want to handle the objections in the sense of what is the product for? If it's just a notebook, right? A notebook, someone doesn't necessarily want to splurge on a notebook, but if you give them the opportunity or give them the ideas of what the product can be used for, like, can it be used for a gift? Is it for puppy lovers? Is it as a baby shower gift? Is it for a baby shower party? Like, what does it do for somebody? Then they're more likely to not think of it as a splurge, but they're likely to think of it as something that they would want to purchase for something, right? So handling objections in this case of the product description is really offering the buyer what it can be used for. That's kind of how you, and just making descriptions and just giving a good feedback on what the features are. And we'll go through all that, I promise. Now, the basics of the copywriting formula. Okay, I did some research and I've heard some of these before, but I kind of liked these because I think they're very short and to the point. Basics of copywriting formula is to attract attention, create interest, and encourage your call to action, your CTA. You want to get their attention, right? They won't purchase it unless they're like, oh, what is this about? Why do I need it? You need to garner some sort of attention. Some of that is obviously from your book cover, but this can also be used in the description. Create interest. You have to get them interested in purchasing your product. And of course, the very end is encourage that call to action. You want them to put that item in their cart. Okay, so there's various formulas to do this. Actually, there's a ton, but these 3 were short. And honestly, I tend to use the last one. So FAB, which is features, advantages, and benefits. So that's kind of the formula to describe those things in those order to get someone to say yes, right? PASS, problem, agitate, solution. PASS is the one I tend to use, and kind of problem, agitate. Some of those kind of get squished into like the first part of what I'm doing. And then the solution, which includes that call to action, purchase my item, that's kind of included in that. And let's go through an example. Okay, so for KDP, I use PASS. People shopping on Amazon, they're not really window shopping, okay? Usually if they're on, they could be window shopping. Like I was looking for couches the other day just to kind of see what's out there. But honestly, I kind of decided I wanted to go to a furniture store and buy it. But I was kind of just wondering what's out there. So, obviously people selling couches on Amazon probably aren't selling to me. But usually when they're trying to get books and things like that, they're trying to solve a specific problem they have. Books, that's kind of what we're taught. Books solve problems, okay? Books are an answer to something. And so that's kind of why I decided I think PASS works the best. So I describe my problem. That's that get attention stage. I agitate, highlight emotions associated with having that problem, right? So I'm going to bring up things that stress them out or make them nervous or whatever to get them to create interest. Like you want them to say yes. It's one of the reasons I always say you should ask questions. If they answer the question with a yes, you're kind of leading them along the right path. Like, yes, this product will help me. Yes, this will help me because they've answered my questions, my concerns. They understand me, right? People buy things from people that they can relate to. They buy things that they can understand, and it just creates that feeling of definitely solving the problem, but also that credibility, connection. If you understand the person who you're selling to and you understand their pain points and you hit those, they know that you are trying to solve the problem for them or help them. Now, offer the solution, point out what it does, how it solves the problems, relevant features, and what it makes and how it makes the best option in the market. Those are just kind of the things. Now, it depends what you're selling, what type of book you have, those sort of things. And of course, you're going to encourage that CTA at the end of all that. Okay. All right. So an example is an air fryer. I love examples. I like to learn by example. I'm that type of person who likes to look at like a math problem or copyright or copy in this case is what they call it, and understand what's good, what's bad, and I like to do that. So I was hoping that would help you guys. I like the idea of concrete examples because I think it gives you a place to start from. Okay, so this is actually an actual product off of Amazon that I thought they did a really good job, or a pretty good job. I was going to show you how I would change it, but in general, I thought they did a good job. I do want to point out a few things. Okay, so this, I'm sorry I made it as big as possible, but it's 600 easy air fryer recipes for quick and hassle-free frying. I bet you crave simple, no-fuss air fryer recipes. That's why I decided to create this best air fryer cookbook with 600 delicious and easy meals that you'll never need, meals that you'll ever need to cook in your air fryer. So that's kind of awkward. I'm having a hard time writing it. So, write it so it's easy. Say your sentences out loud. Sometimes you're like, oh, that doesn't sound quite right. You want it to flow and be easy to read. So I probably would take out some of these words to make it flow. All right. So that's kind of that, highlight the problem, gather intention, right? They're trying to say 600, you kind of highlight the main points. 600, easy, and then, okay, air fryer recipes, quick and hassle-free frying. Okay, so they're trying to say there's a lot of them, and these are quick and easy recipes, okay? Now, this they're trying to relate to the person so that they can they as the author who wrote this know that whoever's purchasing this has kind of the same problems they do. I bet you crave simple, no-fuss air fryer recipes. That's why I decided to create this, right? So they're relating to the customer saying, I was there once. I wanted this. So maybe, you would like my recipes. This was the solution to my problem. Okay, so that's one of those ways to do that. It's to kind of capture attention and then relate to the person, understand where they're coming from, and then sell your product, right? So this is where you're selling your product in the features, right? So this air fryer cookbook for beginners has plenty of content in the following categories. So it talks about the various categories. So what they're assuming, and I want to point this out because understanding your audience is really all about how you decide to push your features. In this case, they're saying they have lots of recipes in a variety of, poultry, beef, in a variety of categories, right? So that's what they're trying to sell. They're saying, oh, we've got lots of recipes and there's lots of different categories. So that's what they're assuming that this book solves for the person, okay? They want a variety of things. Now, maybe, let's say if they were more interested, if they felt their audience was more interested in quick and hassle-free, maybe you would highlight your features differently. Maybe you would have wrote your book differently. Maybe you would have had a book that, 10 ingredients or less type recipes. That would be kind of I think actually maybe 5 or 6 ingredients or less would be that quick, hassle-free type, what I would be looking for. So you just it depends what you're trying to sell to the audience, what pain point you're trying to address, how you phrase these different things. Okay, so in this sense, this is fine because maybe they're just trying to appeal to the audience who wants a large variety. Obviously, with 600 recipes, that is a large variety. And I have to admit, sometimes I just want a cookbook that has lots of stuff in it so that I can choose kind of what I like and what I don't like. So that works for me. One of the ways you know and understand is look at the reviews on other products and look for things that say, oh, this was a great book, except I wish it had this, this, and this. And when you do that across your, in this sample, air fryer recipes books, get all the things that people wish they had, and then you could create your own book. And that's true of kind of any book, but it's also something you can highlight in your description because it hits those pain points that people actually wrote a review that they wish this thing had. It takes time to write a review, so do pay attention to those negative reviews, in the sense of sometimes negative reviews are great for the audience as well, because they understand what is good and bad about a product and what it does well and falls short on. But that might be okay. You know, if I'm not worried about 5 ingredient or less recipes, then, you know, that's okay. I just wanted variety when I purchased this product. All right, now the last part. Get it now and do yourself a big favor. Get the best air fryer recipes and you will love it. Okay, so they're saying put it in the cart, buy it, right? I'm kind of more direct. I say get this book now, right? Because I figure, you know, don't be obvious. Just tell them what you want them to do. Put it in the cart. Purchase this book. I'm kind of that way. But it says get it now. So that's kind of exactly what they're saying. Now, I want to point out a few other things. This was how it was shown on Amazon. Do use Amazon now has HTML where you can do bold and lists and that sort of thing. So definitely do that. It's fairly easy. You do want to, I always say your attention getting thing is going to be bolded and up top. Then you're going to have kind of this is what's inside, and it's going to have a list. And then you're going to have your call to action on the bottom. That's kind of how I frame everything. Okay. Sometimes this one right down here, I will also offer what it can be used for. You know, this makes a great gift for XXX, right? This makes a great gift for newly married couples, right? If you wanted to focus on something like that for this type of book. It just kind of depends what your goal is, who your audience is, that sort of thing. But if you give people an idea of other things they can use it for, that's always a good thing to put right before, you know, put it in the cart. And it also about the spacing. I want you to notice that there's space. Most people actually don't read descriptions. And then they get upset when, you know, the item isn't what they thought it was, but they didn't read the description. But do be as clear and concise as possible when creating your description, so that at least if you get a review like that, you'll probably have another customer who says it's exactly like it was described. And then other reviewers will read through it and be like, yeah, well, someone didn't read the description. And you kind of go, okay, they were kind of dumb. And so negative reviews aren't necessarily bad in that case, because people are smart enough to realize that if it was described very clearly in the description, then, you know, you got what it was described. It's just the person didn't read. But you want to make it easy for people. Don't have paragraphs, okay? Long paragraphs, yeah, they do sell. You'll see books that sell, but there's no reason for you to do a long paragraph. Make it easy for your reader, your purchaser, to read it. Okay, the next one is, okay, this is how I would write it. So it was 600, so that was the original one, 600 air fryer recipes. I bet you crave this simple, they're trying to relate. How I would do it is, like I said, I like to do questions. I like to do questions because I like to get the person purchasing to say yes. If you get them saying yes, 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 when you tell them put it in the cart, they're kind of like, well, yeah, I said yes to all those questions. Right? It's as simple as that. That's kind of what persuasion is. Obviously, it's not going to work 100% of the time, but it's a tried and true method of salesmanship. If you can get someone to say yes and continually say yes, then the likelihood of a sale is just higher. Okay, so this is how I would do it. That capture attention. Need to get dinner for your family ready in a hurry. Okay, so what I'm trying to appeal to is capture that attention of the busy mom who's like, oh my gosh, I got to get the food in the table in 30 minutes. Now, if your book was specifically, you know, focused on air fryer recipes that take 30 minutes or less, then you would want to put that, I think, in the attention getting, or in the next sentence, which was, I'm trying to relate. Now, are you tired of the same meals every night and need a variety, but want it to be easy to prepare? Right? So now I'm getting them to say, yeah, well, we have the same like 6 things. I would love a book with 600 different recipes. And yeah, I want it to be easy, right? So I'm kind of highlighting all that. And then you throw in the name of the book. Then the 600 easy air fryer recipes for quick and hassle-free frying cookbook is for you, right? I'm saying if you answered yes to that, this is the book for you. And then I would go into the features. And like I said, if I was trying to point out that like variety of meals, I think point of features would be really great. Now, if you're trying to go for more that quick and easy, you would highlight how the book helps you prepare things quicker and easier. Is it less items? Is it common things that are in your pantry? Is it 30 minutes or less for each recipe? You know, those sorts of things. It just depends what you are trying to, who you're trying to sell it to, and what you want them to, what reason you want them to buy it for. And don't pick a ton of things. Remember, you can't sell something to everyone, but sell it to a specific audience, and you will always do better than trying to go broad. Because just if you're selling it to a specific audience, it appeals to a broader audience. I may not like the quick and easy aspect, but then I see that there's 600. I said, well, that's pretty cool too, but I really want the quick and easy, but 600 is good, right? So you can really aim at more audiences by focusing on a specific audience. Okay. This is another one, example ABC tracing book. So this is mine that I don't actually have a book on this, but I was just looking at Amazon of things that are selling right now. And so I was saying, okay, how would I write a description for an ABC tracing book? So again, look, I'm doing spacing and bolding and that sort of thing. So it makes it easy. And I do try and keep things one line, especially on my features where I have these bulleted lists. I really try and keep it one line. So I will try and take out letters, words. I'll try and make it easier to read and in that sort of thing. Now, they're going to be very short paragraphs, you know, one line or two, because you're asking questions, you're trying to relate to the reader, but you still want it to be short and have spacing and bold, right? So want to make sure your child is ready for preschool. You know, parents are like, yeah, I do. Frustrated with trying to constantly explain how to write letters correctly. Oh my gosh, that's so me. I was so frustrated with my daughter the other day. She kept writing her 9 backwards. I'm like, oh, I know she's little, but honestly, it's very frustrating for a parent. So you're trying to capture attention and relate to that person's problems, hit their pain points. Okay, now I'm going to offer the solution with ABC tracing book for kids, or I guess I wrote this wrong. Oops, let me go back. ABC tracing book for kids. It's not with, I would have put ABC tracing book for kids will make helping your child learn to write the alphabet a breeze. Okay, so this is my bad typo. I would find it actually if I went back. This alphabet tracing book for preschooler has the following features, right? And then I would talk about my features. Now I want to talk about what I decided to be my features. 1 letter per page to help introduce and focus your child on learning each letter. Remember, in this frustrated with trying to explain how to write letters correctly, I'm trying to point out that this book helps the kid focus and learn each letter in a small period of time rather than trying to shove a bunch of information at the child that would confuse them. So I'm trying to say it'll help them focus, and I'm trying to introduce things slowly to them and giving them opportunities to practice. Now, this one, it kind of makes that getting kids to learn, it's always better if it's fun. So this is one I decided to include. Includes a coloring page with letter tracing to make learning fun. So how I would make this like tracing and a coloring book all kind of in one, so that the child could not only trace the letters, but they could color it, and maybe do different things with it. So that makes it more appealing to a parent because it's more palatable to the child. All right, now I have what parents need, guidelines and directional arrows to assist your toddler, right? So to help them know which way to go, it's going to have arrows so they know how to write it and that sort of thing. You do want that for this sort of stage because they need that. And then any other things you have in your book you would throw in here. Now I put grade 8.5 by 11 size that fits into a backpack. I like to say sizes usually and relate them to something. Like, does it fit in a backpack? Does it fit in a purse? Because that gives them a picture. They may not actually know. Now, most Americans might have the 8.5 by 11 kind of in their head because that's a standard size piece of paper. But some of the others, like 6 by 9 and all that, I don't kind of know. I mean, I do because I make so many books, but normally I wouldn't. So I like to offer what they can put it in. Is it travel size? Is it something that would be a little bigger? In the case of the 8.5 by 11, it's not really purse size. It's more backpack size. And it has more than 125 pages. That might be important to the person that they want. There's lots of practice, right? Now, the last tagline, bolded, make sure you grab a copy of ABC Tracing Book for Kids today, right? Okay, so that's something that you're basically doing. I'm going through the whole thing, and I'm talking about grabbing attention. I'm talking about the features. I'm making it easy to read by having spacing, by bolding things, and I'm just trying to make it as easy and simple and yet persuasive to the audience who you want to purchase it. All right, so I know you've seen this a few times because I clicked, but here you go. Notes. These are the kind of things you want to make sure you know. Know your audience. I know in the other slides I said this, but honestly, this is super important. You have to know your audience to be able to sell something to them. If you do not know your audience, your likelihood of selling to them is much, much lower. Not impossible, but much lower. Don't make this too complex or too detailed. Like I said, paragraphs. No on paragraphs. Spacing, bold, bullets, easy to read. Okay, the easier you make it to read, the more likely the customer is to actually to read the description, which is to your benefit, right? Make benefits your focus. Okay, always try and think, how can I serve the audience? How can I highlight the features that are in my book that will help them? So you can read reviews so that you know your pain points, and then you emphasize those in the descriptions. And we kind of went through that. Now I want to show you an example of my real life. Okay, so I was looking into getting an RV keyless lock. And there's two kind of main sellers on Amazon. And one of them, when I went through the reviews, there was a lot of people that said that there wasn't metal parts and it was kind of junk. There was only one key fob and it was noisy. Okay, they didn't like the fact it beeped really, really loud, and they wanted to shut that feature off. And they couldn't figure out how to do it, and they're very frustrated, right? So there was another competition, which I actually decided which was a much better lock, and they clearly addressed those points in their pictures, because this is an Amazon seller, so they have more pictures than we do in KDP, but the concept is the same. You could do this through A+ marketing for extra pictures, but they clearly pointed out in their description, and they clearly pointed out in the pictures, they had like infographics saying that they used all metal parts, that they had 2 key fobs, and that they had a silent mode, and that they had listened to people who wanted the strength. I think they said they had the most comprehensive RV keyless lock out there, I think was their tagline. Like, they had tried to incorporate everyone's pain points and fix those pain points with their product. So they addressed those points. And so I was like, yeah, this is a much better, RV keyless lock. So that's what you can do with your book. I was convinced by their description, okay, because I'd read reviews of the other one, and then this one, that they had all these things that they said they had fixed. And then also in the reviews, people were saying, yes, I had this pain point, I had this pain point. This RV lock did the things I wanted it to do, and I'm really happy I bought it, right? So, perfect. That's what you are trying to do with your books. Okay, now like I said, A+ marketing can highlight your description in pictures. So you can, highlight pages that are inside your book. So if they're not going to read the description, they might look at pictures that have a few interior pages as on the product page. So A+ content marketing can really help up your game and reinforce what you've said in your description. So the same idea is there. You want to reinforce what's in your description. You also, with A+ content marketing, want to highlight your brand. So if you have several books for kids, for preschoolers, you'd obviously include your various books for preschoolers, and then also show interior pages of this particular book and highlight the features, saying, the coloring pages and tracing pages make learning fun, or something like that, right? Because that's what parents like. They like to make their child actually sit down and want to work on tracing their letters rather than fight their child on letters. So that's the kind of things you want to highlight. All right, so I hope this was really helpful for you. I really tried to show you how to convince your buyer to actually purchase your product, and really kind of the formula I use. I kind of use exactly like I said in this ABC tracing book. I ask questions. I say, here's the product that are this product will solve your problems. And then I proceed to offer the features, the benefits. I really focus in on pain points to try and say this book helps you with these sorts of things. And then I say at the very end that call to action, make sure to grab a copy of this or put it in your cart, or kind of whatever I feel like saying. But usually I say, make sure to grab a copy of this today, right? So something like that. All right. I hope this was really helpful for you. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know what other comments or ideas or things you want to learn, and I will try and make videos on those. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.